Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody around the world, hello and welcome to the hottest show in all the globe, the Welch Report. With me, your host, Charlo, Welch, make some noise. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Clap it up. Get excited where? Everywhere we are back with another action-packed show for you today, covering the world of boxing and beyond. What's happy to be with you. Sorry to be excited on this Tuesday afternoon. We got so much to cover in the world of sports and with boxing. Of course, we got the NBA playoffs, as we always cover on this show. We got some stuff with Caleb Flint and Jermall Charlo returning to the ring. How do we expect more so? Who's got more pressure to show something in their return to the ring? And of course, we got more so like with Moses Itauma, and what looks to be one of the bigger, dominant, up-and-coming heavyweights in the world. Is this man the truth? Is he for real? I believe last weekend he just got a KO. Again, another knockout on his very impressive and extensive resume of outright dominant performances as one of the biggest up-and-coming stars in literally the biggest division in boxing. All that and much more we're going to be talking about right here on this show. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate your energy and effort. And we're glad that you're here. Hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully I can help make your day better. And if you're new here, please leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and hey, make sure to hit the notification bell so you can make sure you get every single post that we show up on here with the channel, so you never miss what we got going on right here on the show. Comment your thoughts and opinions on whatever you want to discuss in the world of sports, boxing, and beyond. Whatever we talk about, we can bring it up in the chat and put it on screen for you all to be able to see. And don't forget to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together as we keep on growing and flourishing, grinding and mining our way into the greater landscape of the media world. It's all thanks to you and your support. We do genuinely love and cherish everybody who comes into the show. Y'all make this possible. No question about it. It's because of you I can do this. Absolutely. And the bigger we get, the better we can make this show. So please keep on sharing, keep on subscribing, and keep on liking. Hey, keep on watching. And we're going to make this show grand as we can be. And as like I said, if you comment, we can bring it up like with Justin Kim. What's good with you, brother? How you doing? Glad that you're here. Glad that you're back. Glad that you're tuning in to the show. We got a lot to discuss with you all today. And shoot, like we know, we're a show that pivots. So any of this conversation can naturally go away from what we talk about, because this is, again, you all's show as much as it is mine. Yes, I'm the one. It's my show. I do stand 10 toes down. But again, this is a conversation. This is an interaction. This is all part of what makes sports great. We all learn from each other. We all bring up good questions. We can deviate at any point in time to any sort of conversation if, hey, the flow goes right. So don't be afraid to say what you got to say, and we can see all about it. Oh, and by the way, let's not forget, we're also available on any podcasting platform imaginable. We're talking Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, tell us, we will get there absolutely to let you be able to hear us everywhere and anywhere on whatever podcasting platform you choose to see or choose to listen to, so that you can never miss what we got to say. And hey, make your downtime, uptime, work time, or any time special and all that more appealing. But with all that being said, we got a lot of show to do in a short amount of time, so let's get right into the show. Let's jump into the nitty-gritty of the action. We're going to talk about boxing first and foremost, and since we're talking about boxing, it is time. Let's step into the ring. Yes, sir. Let's go. Let's get to work. Round one of this show going underway. As we got to talk about, like I said at the top of the show, somebody who I've been really wanted to talk about for a long time. Also, Fight Buzz, what's good with you? How you doing? Glad to see you. Good to see you here. Glad to shoot. You right on time, brother. We right at the start. Oh, we're going to have some great conversation. And again, leave a like on the stream if you're here, and you can keep pushing it to the rest of the algorithm to let everybody know what we got going on right here on this show. And so we're happy for you. But again, we got to start with the first topic of the day, which is one of the biggest, one of the more exciting heavyweights of today's generation, of this new era, needs to be discussed, because there's some validity that we need to see if this man is the truth. And that man is Moses Itauma. That's right. Moses has been part in the Red Sea of boxers ever since he made his debut into the ranks. We got to see him, I think 2 fight cards ago, him get a knockout in a very spectacular fashion. Just got a knockout last week, and if I have my schedule correct, on again another journeyman-esque opponent, but it's the way that he wins even against this naturally lower level competition that makes me really excited. And has me asking the question, when we look at Moses Itauma, is this man the real deal, the genuine? Is he the real deal? Is this man really the guy to take the next generation of heavyweight boxing into its own age? Now, golden age, silver age, I don't know. But as the leader, is it looking like this is going to be the man? Now, it's important to ask that question because, as we've talked about before, first and foremost, the older generations get ready to get out of here. Tyson Fury had just said now he's staying retired. After teasing, he's coming back and then retiring and then coming back and retiring and then coming back and retiring. Oh, 8, 9, 10 times? We don't know what he's going to do. AJ is getting old. He's only got a couple fights left in his own career, respectfully, even though he's still trying to work his way back to the top of the mountain. Even the likes of Martin McCulley, who has just popped on the scene, he is older. We can't lie. Daniel Dubois is the youngest of the biggest stars in the heavyweight division right now, but even still, he's more seasoned at this point. But he's still got, again, longer trajectory of his career to go, so he's kind of an outlier. Usyk has got 2 fights left in him, counting this next fight against Daniel Dubois. Mind you, so what after Daniel Dubois, win, lose, or draw, he's got 1 more, and then he's done. We've got a lot of people going in and out of sport. Joseph Parker, even though he's had a resurgence in his career, it is still, he is at the tail end of what looks to be a very good and potentially ever-evolving career that seemingly keeps on changing for the better for him. Love it. But he ain't a spring chicken either. The old Wilder is, we don't know, that he's coming back. Should he come back? Absolutely not, in my estimation. Will he be successful? Who knows? But what I do know is that this man, if he gets knocked out again, I hope and pray that he don't come back. He's on his last legs of his own career. This isn't me trying to be mean or be disrespectful. This is the reality situation. The old guard is getting ready to go. The old guard is getting ready to turn over the leaf, turn over the torch to the next regime. Who's the leader of that next regime? If it ain't Daniel Dubois at the top, which I completely understand as of right now, if they say current, then it would be the likes of Moses Itauma. But we've fallen down this trap before with the likes of Jared Anderson. Let's not forget let's not forget that in the slides. Remember, we were talking about Jared Anderson as the next great American heavyweight. And even with the likes of Turki Al-Sheikh saying that, oh, heavyweight division will be better if you have a black American champion, that's all well and good. But the real crux of the situation is that there is no next guy in everybody's mind that can really take the reins of who is going to be the face of this division. Yes, you want everybody to prove it, but you at least want a glimpse into, okay, who's got some promise. And the last time we had a buddy that had some promise in Jared Anderson, he got sparked out. And ever since then, he has not been in any way, shape, or form of the same elevated level of competitive fervor that we expected him to be when he was coming on the scene as a slick, small, but technically sound, very appealing looking fighter. Good offensive array, had a great jab, would do, again, show defense that made everybody think, oh, this boy's going to be something. Then boom, knocked out by Martin McCulley, and then afterwards, his subsequent fights all look better than, I can't even say better, they look like improvements, but very small improvements compared to what we need to see. This is where Moses Itauma comes into play, and Itauma can be the actual brother that can live up to the expectation, because he does everything you want from a heavyweight, and not just with this build, but it's with the technique that makes him really, and I mean really promising in the public eye of the boxing world. I'm going to get to exactly why that promise is so apparent. Also, Al Booga, I almost missed you. What's good with you? How you doing? Glad you can tune into the show. Leave a like on the stream if you're here. So glad you chose to take some time out to see what we got going on. Daniel Dubois is the only hope, but he's not that good. We're about to see another the Doldrum era in the heavyweight division. And again, see, these types of remarks are the reason why we're looking at Itauma and saying this can be different. The issue with Daniel Dubois, when he came onto the scene versus what he is now, is the fact he was losing. He lacked in two things. He lacked in more advanced technical ability, and he lacked heart. Those were the issues. Now, granted, he fixed the heart issue, absolutely. And he traded away, gaining more technical ability to becoming more of a tank-like fighter. Not tank as in Gervonta Davis tank. Tank as in I am now working like a tank. I'm coming forward. I am going to overpower you, outmuscle you, and bum rush you. And everything you land on me will no longer take effect to hurt me. Ever since we saw him fight Jermall and then improved to beat and knock out Miller, knock out Hergovich, then knock out the likes of who was he? AJ. Lest we forget. And so he may not be as technical, understandable, but he found what needed to work for him. Itauma, unlike with Dubois, it's a lot better. This is a lot better technique. A lot better technique. If you look at just the last knock, in fact, let me make sure I got the name of the brother he just knocked out correctly. But the last fight that he had, he did a bunch of stuff that I'm not seeing Dubois do. I'm not even seeing Jared Anderson do when he was coming up the ranks in boxing. Because when we look at Moses Itauma, this man is genuinely showing great feints, showing great footwork, is setting traps, is also being defensively responsible, getting out the way, anticipating offense that comes at him, and then being able to counter with correct punches while not being off balance, not overthrown to the point that now you lose or open yourself up to being put in a position where, you can get beat and you can get caught. We know it's a heavyweight division. It don't take much to be able to put you out. It does. In the heavyweight division, it does not take much at all to put you out in the slightest for anybody, even the bums at the heavyweight division. But when it comes to Itauma, we're not seeing it. I'm not seeing those same lapses in judgment that I saw with Dubois, that I saw with Jared Anderson. The issues that I would call out when I was calling out Anderson, when he was up and coming in the heavyweight division, I'm not calling out with against Itauma because they're not there. Or if they are there, they're very much more discreet, which is good. He's not perfect in any way, shape, or form. No, there's still some things that he struggles with, absolutely. But what we see right now is a very strong, polished version of a potential dominant heavyweight in the division that if this keeps on going, it's not just going to be the power that we marvel at. And that's been my issue with the goal, or with the majority of the heavyweight division for the longest time. The power is normally the only thing that we see as the only worthwhile sentiment. Usyk broke the norm of what was supposed to be the heavyweight landscape. Again, heavyweights are big and strong. That's what makes the day. Big and strong heavyweights, those are what the land of the giants. That's what it was. Now, with Usyk, like I said before, Usyk is going to be the change. He's going to be the stopgap. He is going to be that ripple effect. That when he succeeds, again, if you were here months ago when when the Fury Usyk fight was ramping up and all that stuff, I was saying that Usyk was going to be the guy to revert the heavyweight division back to what he used to be, which was between 5'11" and 6'3", 220 to potentially 240 if you big, moving type heavyweights that are more akin to the skill sets of lower weight classes rather than just having size and power as your only means of ability. That's what I said. And now we're starting to see it come to fruition on a grander scale with more heavyweights coming up. We're seeing more movers. We're seeing more fighters who may not be as big, but what they bring to the table is a lot better, well-rounded skill set. And against it, Ajay Caballero, but who I thought was going to get beat by Big Bang Jake, outworked Big Bang immensely and did not stop with his entire offensive arsenal, and has done that with other opponents as well. There's somebody I can't pronounce his name, starts with a T. Excuse me, some tall brother said I can't pronounce his name, but starts with a T. But he is a brother who he's got some promise as a heavyweight as well, who he's incredibly big, but he also moves a lot more fluid. And the size is not the only thing he relies on. He can actually move, somewhat akin to the likes of Tyson Fury. Not nearly as good, understandable, but in terms of he's got some limberness in him that allows him to make his sides even more advantageous. No longer just big blocks of stone that walk you down and Joe Joyce you to kingdom come. No, it's not like that anymore, thankfully. And Itauma is the epitome of that. At this point in time, I really think this brother is going to be something special. And let's see. Oh, we got a lot of people coming. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm missing some people. Sergey, what's going on with that? How you doing? Glad to see you. Glad that you're here. Thanks for tuning into the show. Al Booker, if I didn't say what's up already, what's up to you? I agree. Moses does have good technical skills and some know-how in there. I don't see a future dominant champion, but I can see him picking up some heavyweight belts during his career. What about Itauma's gas tank and Torres? This is exactly why I brought this conversation up. Because now we got an American dude and Richard Torres Jr. We got a British brother and Moses Itauma. Both of whom are cleaning house with their own opposition. But there's a reason why I value Moses and I don't value Torres. And even with the questions of gas tanks, as Sergey brought up, Itauma's gas tank, though it has not been tested to a very deep degree, I get it. He's been cleaning people out, knocking people out left, right, and center, putting them to sleep. I get it. He's got 12 fights, 10 KOs on his resume right now. Beating people that he should beat and doing it the way that he should do it. Coming up and elevating his game. Learning to grow while also putting himself in a spotlight to be a marketable name. All that's good. And he hasn't gone deep in a fight because he hasn't been pushed that far. But you have to also understand, to do what he does in the ring, to feint as much as he does, foot feints, body feints, and hand feints, to be able to be as diverse in talent and skill set, slipping and being defensively responsible, doing a lot of these small stuff, as well as being able to do and show some real class in the big stuff, the big slips and the big counters. When he goes to close the show aggressively, he has shown both pace and, even though it hasn't been shown in terms of deep runs, if you are a heavyweight, especially with what we know about heavyweights now, and you can do that for at least 4 rounds, it's not difficult for me to say that you are not set to have a deep gas tank. It's hard because most boxers in the heavyweight division right now, if they did as much as Moses Itauma does in the small stuff and big stuff that he does inside the ring with his wins, they would be gassed almost assuredly. But with Itauma, I don't see that as a problem. Also because of the way that he's built. Again, he's not 6'6", 260. He's not Martin Bucoli, 300. He's not Jarrell Miller, 302. He is not Big Bang Jang, 290 to 288. He ain't even Tyson Fury, 270. He's 240, 235, potentially 222 if he wants to come in even shorter. He is lean, he's built, but he's not overly muscular. Now, he could trim himself down a little bit more. He could get cut a little more, understandable. But the build and the fighting style fit the normal mode of somebody who they can probably do this for up to like round 8 or 9. So I'm not worried about the gas tank of Itauma. I'm not. Now, I am worried about when somebody is able to crack him. Then what does he do? Now, that's a different question. That's a different set of arguments and conversations. But for what we know right now, with what he is showing right now, he is looking like somebody who will take the reins as that future face of the division. Him, Ajit, Dubois, probably being the best guy, quote unquote, in terms of the man to beat by the time Itauma gets to that standard or threshold. But it's like he's got that it factor when I watch him fight. He's got that it factor of there is a difference in both productivity and execution that I don't see other heavyweights around him or even above him in some cases have at their own disposal. I don't. Similarly, Richard Torres. Torres, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Richard Torres as a heavyweight, I don't value him highly at all. He is too sloppy. He is too aggressive from the standpoint of he doesn't have, his defense is not good enough to just wail in like he normally does if he wants to get to a championship level, a status, a championship contending status. He doesn't have it. No, he doesn't. And we talk about Itauma's stamina. Richard's stamina gets winded. And that but his legs more aggressive than the likes of Moses Itauma. Moses Itauma can box in and out. And yes, Richard Torres is shorter. I completely understand it. But Torres getting in is incredibly sloppy. Torres getting on the inside to where he can actually work is a very dire situation if he went up against Moses Itauma. Because the heavyweights that he's gone up against, they have not been able to stop that forward pressure. Because again, they're not that good. Which I understand. The level of fighters that both Itauma and Torres are fighting are to build them up. No problem. But if I'm looking at Itauma, and I'm saying in a similar caliber of opponent that we see Torres face, Itauma's also facing, and Itauma is doing cleaner, more effective, more destructive work, and I'm not seeing his ability get stifled. I'm not seeing him go the distance because he can't do what he wants to do. This ain't like Mike Tyson going the distance because somebody was just able to stand up to the offense that he was able to do early on in his career. This ain't like that. Richard Torres is getting taken to the distance because he can't beat soundly the other person beside him. And yes, he'll get the win. But we are not walking away from that win looking at him as somebody who is real. We're not. Just look at his last fight. It is not. There is a difference in execution and in both defensive and offensive array that we see Itauma have, that Torres is not having any way, shape, or form. Torres is a brawler, more so a swarmer than anything. And I respect it. But there's also a good and bad way to be a swarmer. And Torres is a bad swarmer. He's a bad brawler. He is a bad inside fighter from the standpoint of he is sloppy. He can get winded very much more severely than we see with Moses Itauma. And Richard Torres is so dependent on being able to out-muscle his opponents without any of the proper defensive abilities surrounding him to make it so that when he does get on the inside, he ain't taking unnecessary punishment or he's getting caught once he gets there. I don't value Torres as somebody being a great heavyweight. If you mean to tell me that if Itauma and Torres fought right now, because they're at a similar point in their career, if you think Torres has more fights, if you put Torres and you put Itauma in the ring right now, who's winning? Who's winning? I want to ask the public, who's winning? And if you say Torres, hey, you can make an argument, sure, go ahead. He's got the power. He can potentially make it so that Itauma gets uncomfortable. He can make it so that Itauma can't get away. And potentially he is in a box because the Torres just won't relent. I get that. That doesn't mean I'm taking Torres, though I know there is a way to win, because him executing that way to win where he's currently stated right now as a fighter, he is so exposed to get caught, countered, dropped, shooken up, and taken out on a stretcher, all because his buddy won't put his hands up properly or move his head properly. He'll swing wildly, knowing that, oh, my opponent doesn't want to test me because I'm just too strong. That's not Itauma. That's not any of the elites at the heavyweight division. That's not even any of the contenders at the heavyweight division if he keeps on moving up. That's a problem. That is a problem. And Itauma doesn't have that problem. They're both unpolished, but one is drastically better than the other. One is drastically better than the other. And Itauma's way better than Torres. And I like Torres. I want to see him be better. He's just not He's just not. That's the thing. He's just not. And so that's why, that's the difference between them. Torres is not built for that. Itauma is built to take on that range, take on that torch. And yes, he may not be the undisputed king. Sure. He'll be one of the best 3 in the division. I'd argue he potentially be the second best fighter in the division. If I can see him being at his best with the current landscape of the heavyweight division right now, there may be one person, maybe 2, if it's an old dog like Usyk that keeps on just staying around. But once Itauma reaches his peak for the next wave of heavyweights currently, I think he's going to be the best out of all of them. I think he's going to get himself up to be the man or one of the 2 that you got to go through to take the crown of king in this heavyweight division. I truly do. Dubois could be better than him if he keeps on improving. Understand. Absolutely. And Dubois is still young. He's in that vein of also leading that charge. But he's also old. He's also been in the ring. He's also had 22, 23, 25 fights. Maybe just about. We get it. His prospective years are way before the like Moses Itauma. So Moses is the epitome of that next era. Because of that, he's the guy that's going to lead everybody into what we see now going forward. With Dubois being part of more so the old guard, but being at the best of his game as the old guard. If he keeps up now, he'll be the king. Itauma will be the next gladiator who's trying to take out the king. And it ain't going to be Richard. It ain't going to be the other buddy I was talking about that starts with the T. It's going to be Moses Itauma. I truly believe it because he's so special. Check hook, straight right, uppercut, offensive right from every single angle. Can change the direction of his punch to feint you out. Can make it so that you bite on everything without him having to throw. Can push you back without throwing a punch. You understand it? Not just because of power, but because of legitimate psychology of the game. In the ring, he's got a lot of great stuff to him that makes him so great. He can be patient and be aggressive. He got power in both hands. He doesn't need to rely on just walking you down to be successful. He can box with you if he needs to. He's got a jab that he can actually utilize. There's so many things about his game that are just so great at this age. He's spectacular. So I think he's the real deal. And if you don't know him, look him up. You'll see exactly why. I wouldn't be saying this if it wasn't true. I wouldn't be saying this if the technical wheels weren't turning in a man who is so young, yet also so strong, but his power isn't the only thing that he relies on. This brother's great. I'm telling you, he's great. He's great. Yeah, he's not the one respect. Oh, yeah, I respect Torres. I just really don't believe this man is real. This is Torres' hit job. He only went the distance twice. He did. I get it. And again, like I said, if you think Torres would beat Itauma, I have no problem with it. There is an argument and an avenue that he can beat him in. But in the last 2 fights that I've seen, Richard Torres, even in victory, it's not about going the distance that's the problem. It's not about going the distance. Again, like I said, it's not Tyson going the distance because somebody was just too tough. Tyson going the distance was still a great performance because he still did everything. We didn't see stuff nullified in this game by an opponent he should be able to do. They were able to stand up to. Torres, it is not working. It's not working. He's losing rounds that he should not be losing in these fights against this caliber of opponent. And it's not because, he's too short. It's not because, he's fighting a bunch of giants. No, it's because his technical ability as a brawler and or swarmer to make his offense effective is not up to the level that it needs to be. For people that he should be able to take out, he can't take out. I should not be, with how Torres fights, I should not be bored watching him. I shouldn't be bored watching Torres fight. Yet in his last fight, I almost didn't want to watch it because it was that much of an abysmal performance on his end because of the stuff he wasn't doing. That's the problem. Or rather, the stuff that he couldn't do because he's not there yet technically. And so it's not a hit job. I want to see him be better. He can go the distance. I'm fine with that. Just don't have me feeling the way that I feel if you do go the distance, questioning your ability as a fighter and seeing stuff that, brother, you need to fix this now. You need to fix how you get on the inside. You need to fix how you or how you mix up your offensive game so that somebody isn't able to just clinch you up consistently. You need to fix your work on the inside when you do get in a clinch. Shorten up your hooks if you're going to come in and lunge. Get a better array of offensive lunging weapons so you're not only struggling to chase somebody who's trying to get away from you, especially they're a taller opponent. Use your jab some more to get them to bite and then do something else. There's a bunch of stuff that I can nitpick about Torres. That's a problem. That, like, if he fixed those, it would be a whole lot better. We'd be having a different conversation. But because it's not, we're not having a different conversation because that's what we're seeing from this man. And if it changes, I'm all good for saying it, but it ain't changing. It ain't changing. That's the thing. Yeah, coincidentally, Moses is going. And again, I'm late on the chats. I'm not trying to, but y'all are bringing up points that I'm getting to later. But yeah, Itauma went the distance twice. You don't see me talking about that Bradley because the performance individually was completely different. It was completely different. It's never been about, oh, you have to get the knockout. No, it's not. It's about what do you do as a fighter against opponents that we know you should have control over to keep that full control. To show me something new or consistency of the stuff that has been working with nuances as you grow in the sport. And Torres, I have not seen that. With Itauma in his own times going the distance, I've seen that and on a league's better scale. League's better scale. And so that's the thing. And I don't care. If you've been on this channel, you know what I do. I don't do anything in regards to race, creed, gender, or otherwise. I don't care. Shoot, Al Booker can talk about this. Jay Will, when he gets here, can talk about this. Jay Race can talk about this. Everybody that's been here on this channel knows what I'm about when I go through this whole, when I talk about boxing or sports in general. I have my favorite fighter. My favorite fighter is Noya Inoue. My other favorite fighter, David Benavidez. And Terence Crawford. Two of my favorite fighters to watch are Mexican and Japanese. I don't care who you are or what color you are. Stylistically, every culture has their own boxing style. I get it. Yeah, absolutely. That's what makes all of them great. That's what makes the sport great. You see a reflection of cultures in the midst of the ring based on where they're from. It's a beautiful thing. But I'm not holding that against anybody. No, I'm not trying to beat down on it with somebody. I love to watch Shakur Stevenson. I love to watch Oscar Valdez. I love to watch Navarrete, though I can't believe he still hasn't been knocked out yet. I love to watch him because all of that is beautiful in its own way. But I could care less what style you have. I care about if you're better than somebody. There's plenty of slick fighters that I would say Isaac Cruz knocks out. Plenty of them. Plenty of fighters. And excuse me, excuse me. Thank you, Al Booker, for the for the clarification. Mexican Ecuadorian descent. Understand? Just painting the broader brush. But yes, you're right. But that's the point. There is nothing. It means nothing about how you fight. What type of fighter are you? I don't care if you're slick. I don't care if you're defensive. I don't care if you're offensive. I don't care if you're a counterpuncher, a pot shotter, a brawler, a powerhouse, a speedster. I don't care. We only care about the results and what you are developing into and what you are compared to other people, what that means for the storyline and the timeline of this sport. So we can correctly rank you properly. Engage you against others, both present and in the past. Because the future's unknown. That's what we care about. So, again, Don't put that on me, because that ain't what I'm about. That ain't what this channel has ever been about when it comes to the world of boxing. And I did. Guess what? I did call Jerry Anderson the future until he wasn't the future. What did I say? I was dead wrong. And mind you, if you were here earlier, and I believe you were, but you can go back. Even in me giving him praise for when he was indeed looking great, I called out the problems that he had that inevitably got him knocked out. Like 6 fights ago, or 3-4 fights ago, whatever the world he fought, before he fought Frank Martin. Not Frank Martin, Martin, the former very short time heavyweight champion that got beat by Anthony Joshua. When Jared Anderson faced off against him, before that fight, I called out the issues that I had with Jared Anderson. Though I saw, he's showing a lot of good stuff that we haven't seen from a heavyweight in a long time, since the likes of Usyk, or since Usyk moved up to heavyweight. We haven't seen a smaller fighter in this division have those similar types of stylistic tendencies. Volume, combination punches, being able to actually have some level of good defensive output, footwork actually, and a gas tank at that size as an undersized heavyweight in the world. We praised all of that and still critique it properly. And what happened when it happened? I said, I told you, if Anderson doesn't fix this, he's going to get knocked out. And lo and behold, he got knocked out the very way I said he would get knocked out. I've never been like that. I've never been. We don't do any unfair critiques or any racial bias at all. We don't do that on this show. We don't care. We care about fights, fighters, and the greater timeline of the sport. And that's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing. That is it. And so yeah, they're both super green still. Or they're both still super green. I can see Torres beating Moses and Moses beating Torres at this point. I probably would lean Moses, but who knows? Me, I completely get it. Torres got the power to knock out Moses. Absolutely. And he's got this swarming ability to make it so that Moses, he'll maul through the feints and then be able to catch him. Absolutely. Overwhelm him if he gets him in the corner. I get it. Absolutely. I just don't think that we're going to see Moses put himself in that situation. Because the ability, and not to mention, Moses got his own power that he can catch Torres before Torres is even able to get on the inside. With the amount of really questionable defensive, honestly, choices that Torres takes when he tries to gain and essentially like a wrecking ball, come in with momentum to initiate his offense. There's a lot of stuff that I can see that even though Torres could knock him out, absolutely, Moses is highly more likely to catch him before he even gets touched because of Moses's better IQ and power. Even if it's not better, it's enough power that we know that could put Torres on the floor. We know that. We do know that. But he can make that power, he's got a better delivery system. To quote Teddy Atlas, he's got a better delivery system. He has a better way to set up the punch that can injure. He's got more diverse ways that he can do that than Richard Torres. He's got more traps that he can make Torres fall into that he could counter and put him to sleep. There's a lot more nuance than we see with Richard Torres. And even in Richard Torres' more limited level of skill set, even that isn't as polished as it needs to be. For, again, it's not rudimentary, but for how vastly simpler it is in terms of what the game plan is. There is not enough working technique that if he faced off against Itauma, I would have confidence that he could be successful. Because once one game plan gets shut down, like he did in his last fight, yes, he went the distance, but it was a severely lackluster performance because there wasn't a secondary thing that Torres could do. There wasn't a secondary game plan. There wasn't any adaptation. There wasn't any changes to figure out, okay, what can I do to make this work, or this work, or that work. It wasn't like that. With Itauma, I've seen the layers go go through with his Rolodex of skills to see what can and can't work. That's why I would pick Itauma over Torres for me right now. And so, that's my thing. And I like Pitbull style, but not Torres. I said I like both of their styles. I like Pitbull's style. I was bringing up that Pitbull fights like Torres. Similarly. Wrecking ball coming through, coming in, but he's a lot more polished. Even with, again, it's not, he's one-dimensional, absolutely. But because of what he's turned into, that simplistic walk you down type nature is able to beat a lot more people. Gives us a better understanding of how to make that style work. Torres isn't there yet. And again, he's green. But if we're comparing apples to apples and where they both are, which is at the same point in their careers, it would be a fool of me to say that right now with an even worse version, a drastically less polished version than a former champion in Isaac Cruz. It is not out the question for me to say that, yeah, Isaac Cruz can do that. You can't. If you were able to fight like him or similar to him, what level of, okay, I may not have a whole lot of skills, but I make my skills work because I understand the nuance of where to put my head, how to cut off the ring, how to make my hooks, though that's all I throw, actually land. Making it so that I don't smother my offense, making it so that I can actually fight out of clinches, making it so that I don't have to worry about when I do get on the inside, can I actually be successful because I know what I'm doing and I can actually adapt. That's what we don't see with Rich Torres. That's why I don't see it. I just really can't see it. We have a lot more to show on this thing. All fair points. Let's see how Moses looks when he finally steps up. Yeah, absolutely. That's all we're waiting on. This is just the prospects looks good. He still needs to step up and prove himself. No question about it. When he finally steps up, for real, maybe they step him up next year or step him up at year end or next year. I'm hoping it's this year. Like me, I've always wanted to see you get tested. Yes, he's 12-0, 10 KOs. Normally that process is what? 13 to 15 fights. Okay, now you start stepping up. But with how Moses looks, if he stepped up now, I wouldn't be mad. But he needs to prove himself. Like with anything, don't matter. He needs to prove himself against the competition that's in front of him. And if it's a step up, we expect to see you step your own game up as well. Yeah, the bar is still the bar. No matter how highly I look at somebody or not, the bar is still the bar. And he still got to show up and do what he needs to do. He still got to show up and do what he needs to do. And so that's the thing. And so I wish Pitbull was able to box just a little bit better. His limitations got him beat by El Rayo. I thought he was going to smash him. But yeah, see? And if Isaac Cruz really learned how to use that straight right hand, because again, he ain't gonna use his jab. He's not. As much as I wanted to use it, especially as a shorter fighter, to get, to be able to not just move forward, but to make the offense or make the defense bite, land something so you're always touching somebody so they always feel like they can't get away even more fervent or even more despairingly than they already do feel, because Isaac Cruz is always right on top of people. But it would also potentially open up better options for him to throw and land those big hooks that he wants to land. But he's not going to do that because it's just not him. It's not. But if he used that straight right hand more effectively, if he used that straight right hand more dominant, if he made the straight right hand potentially his jab, it would actually open up some doors for him to be more successful. Because ironically enough, even though he's a short fighter, some of the best successes I've seen in multiple fights have been when Isaac Cruz throws that straight right when his opponent's trying to get away. Or when they're trying to change angles. It works. It really does work. He just doesn't use it enough. That one punch can legitimately change and elevate his whole success rate. I don't know why it works, but it works. But if anything, if he just, gosh, imagine Isaac Cruz with footwork. My goodness, that would be insane. That would be ridiculous. If Isaac Cruz has some better footwork and just a little bit more heavy. I mean, he's already right there. He's right there to be a true peekaboo fighter. He is right there to be a true peekaboo fighter. We call him the mini Mike Tyson because he throws nothing but hooks. But if he actually just used head movement along with that high guard, like it's right there. It is right there for him to become a real dangerous brother. Train with Teddy Atlas, please. That's all I'm asking. Because you get that down, shoot, man. You're right on the cusp. You're right on the cusp of getting a picture-perfect style that doesn't compromise what you already do, but betters your ability to close the gap. That's literally, he's right there to be a peekaboo fighter. He's right there. He just doesn't move his head. That's it. He'll walk you down and catch all the punches, but he just won't move his head, which is so frustrating. It's so frustrating. He's got a chin. He's got a good guard. He's got good power. He's got good stamina. He'll throw power shots for at least 9 rounds straight before he actually starts getting tired. He just ain't got no head movement. It's the craziest thing. As a short fighter, no head movement. But it's still, it's frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating. And then let me see who else. Do we need to, let me make sure I'm still on topic. I want to make sure that we still got more show that we can do. Because we do have to talk about returns that we see for the world of Caleb Plant and Jermall Charlo. Let me read this last comment right here. Is there any other comments that or I need to read? Or is this the only one? Let's see. Pitbull box Tank's head off of him on the back foot all night. It was a close fight because his hands was injured. He did put up a very good performance, absolutely. He didn't box his head off, but he definitely showed, yeah, he's real. And he should have gotten a rematch a while ago. He should have gotten a rematch a while ago. There's a reason why also Tank won't fight him again. It's because he's legit. He's legit. I still haven't watched it. You still haven't watched that fight. If you ever get a chance, please go back and watch it this week. Pitbull versus Isaac Cruz. Or excuse me, Pitbull Cruz versus Tank Davis. It's there on YouTube. It's an incredibly exciting fight. It's very good. It is. It's like legitimately. If you need to see it. If you really want, you just trust me. You need to see it because it is worth the watch. It definitely is worth the watch, absolutely. And so yeah, injure a hand. It's not an excuse. He legitimately did injure his hand. Like he actually did injure his hand. Like he went to the hospital. There's doctor records and everything. He actively did do that. He still won. And again, he had to perform like he performed. Notice, I've never taken the reason for why Tank fought the way that he fought away from the performance that we saw Isaac Cruz put on. I've never taken that away because it was still a great performance, especially with how Tank adapted. It was still phenomenal. And he still deserves a rematch against a healthy, no compromise or non-compromised Tank to see if that's really about that, see if he's really like that. Yes, we know he's lost down the road, but it's like he deserves that opportunity. He definitely does. And that fight is the very reason why people got exposed to how good this brother actually is in terms of Isaac Cruz. That's why he became a fan favorite fighter for a lot of people. Though he was knocking people out left, right, and center years and years into the sport. So I've never used that as an excuse to take away credit from what we see from the likes of Isaac Cruz on that night. But it's context. Like we say, context is everything. You give the full story. So you understand. I did it with Dos Santos versus Shakur. The fight was still a horrible fight, though we know Shakur's hands actually broke during the fight, which is why he wasn't able to go and actually box like we normally see him box. It's still not an excuse for how bad of a fight it was. It's not. But that's what happened. It would be a fool of me not to go and say what happened. Because if I don't, it's a disservice. It's a discredit to you all the fans to not get the full scope of the picture. And so yeah. But we have to move on because we are how far along are we? We are roughly almost 30 minutes into the show. Oh, yeah, we gotta make sure we keep stuff rolling. We still got a whole bunch of stuff we gotta talk about. We'll talk about this more. We can talk about this more in the championship rounds at the end of the show. If you stick around, absolutely, you'll be great. But we have to go and continue our march to making this show the best that it can be. Moving on to the second segment of the show, as we got some returns in the world of boxing with the lights of Charlo and Caleb Plant. They are back and back. Well, I don't know if they're better than ever, but they're back on the comeback trail to get back into the championship contending column, and we're all excited to see how they go with it. And as we go and switch gears right now, let me make sure I got stuff. Do I got stuff right? Yes, I do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As we see with Caleb Plant and Jermall Charlo, they are back returning to the ring. We gonna have ourselves a very exciting time getting ready to see how Caleb Plant, again, off the backs of the McCombie knockout that he got in one of the better fights of the night that really pushed that. But I'm still trying to wait on see where McCombie is right now. When he himself is going to get back into the ring after that performance he had against Caleb Plant. I think he's got a fight coming up. I'm not exactly sure in terms of McCombie, but off the backs of that knockout win, now he's going and fighting in terms of Caleb Plant against Armando Rosita, and then Jermall Charlo, and actually I keep getting their names confused. I believe it's Jermall, the middleweight brother of the two brothers, the one who has been a dominant champion, but also has been out of the boxing spotlight for a mighty long time. Now makes his return, and I think the real question is, who's got more to prove right now? And I think the answer is obvious, that it's Charlo. Like assuredly. Because again, Caleb Plant, yes, he lost to Canelo Alvarez. Yes, he had struggles and had some big scares against like some McCombie, but he showed at least one, more activity, and two, that he is still able to dig deep, and that IQ that he's got in him ain't just for show. He's taking stuff that he learned, like from the fights with Dave Benavidez, and implemented into his style. That's why he was able to knock out McCombie when he took the fight on the inside and really started fighting in close quarters, where, ironically enough, Benavidez was able to go and take him out on the night, because he was beating him on the inside. And when Caleb Plant was forced to go in close quarters, he got outstruck, outboxed, beaten into submission. Yes, he didn't quit, but I mean, you saw his face. You saw what happened. We also have. It was an incredibly exciting fight, but a fight he got dominated. Took those lessons from that fight, implemented it into McCombie. Boom, you see the KO, and you see a very impressive stamp or perspective for a lot of boxing fans. Say, "Oh man, that's a part of his game that I didn't know that he had. I knew he could box. I knew he could move, but when it comes down time for it, buddy, he will and can really do some good work on the inside." And so now I don't think he's got as much to prove as opposed to Charlo. Because Charlo right now is at a whole, and I mean a host of questions regarding him, and essentially his dedication to the sport. Like, his dedication to the sport has been questioned multiple times because of the brother has been a no-show. And this ain't hate for both of them. Is it? Hold on. Before I do, let me pull these names up so I'm making sure I'm getting them correct, because they both look so similar. And last time I messed it up when I was talking about one said the other. So I'm not making that mistake again. I am not making that mistake again. We're gonna get this right. We're gonna get this right. I promise you. I'm gonna make sure I pull up face, name, and record. So I make sure that I am not about to have that egg on my face yet again. Okay, yes, Jermall. Do I have it right on the string? Yes, I do. Jermall Charlo returning to the ring after upwards of a 2 and 3 year layoff. We're dealing with stuff outside the ring, personal stuff, absolutely, but also just a lack of honestly showing. Because his last fight was what? 2013? It's 2025 right now. 2 years out with no real show. One, ring rust. Brother, what can we expect from you? We know you got one of the best jabs in the business. We know that you are indeed a very strong and powerful opponent. 33 wins in his career, 22 knockouts. You beat, the last win was against Jose Benavidez Jr. And so it's not bad. It's just like, where's your dedication to what we can expect to see once you step in there? It's not just about ring rust. How much are you willing to push yourself to get back to what we know you can be? And also, let's not forget, he's fighting for his reputation. Because we have to be honest, this is bigger than just him in terms of this fight. It is. His brother set a bad precedent for the names of both of them with this fight with Canelo Alvarez. And then subsequently erasing himself from the face of the earth for the sense of not boxing since then. He has set a bad precedent for what the fans feel about both the Charlo brothers. And we've had questions multiple times on this show. When is he going to come back? How dedicated is he? What is he going to do? And how much is he going to actually be, not just close to his own, to his old self, but just from the standpoint of, if he gets in the ring, but is he going to be motivated to actually put his best foot forward? Or is it that potential outside life and or potentially money or potentially the love of this sport just isn't there no more? Because we don't know what to expect. Now, I, for one, think that, again, this is the fight he should be able to win. This is the fight he should be able to go and at least start the process back to getting up to his former self. I'm not expecting him to look great. I'm not expecting him to look phenomenal. But I am expecting him to put up a legitimate effort. Dare I say, if he gets a knockout, that'll be even more impressive. But just getting through the night, but we're seeing him, okay, there's some fire in his eyes. There's some motivation behind his soul. There is some level of determination that's pushing him to put the best that he can out. Though we don't know what his best is at this point in time because we haven't seen him in 2 years. But all that's speculation because we don't know what he's going to be. And do you all think that we're going to see Charlo show up and really be the old Charlo that we knew and a lot of people fell in love with? Are we going to get the old lion back that they used to always talk about, both of them? Or are we going to get the lion that truly is just out to pasture? Are we going to get a lion that doesn't really want to hunt anymore? Are we going to get a lion that's doing this out of necessity rather than just the love of the sport? These are the questions, more than just the fight itself, that we have about Jermall Charlo, excuse me. And these are the questions that makes us concerned. These are the questions that really makes us honestly scared. It honestly makes us scared. Because, yes, the opponent that he's fighting ain't all that great. Thomas Lamana, 39-5 with a draw. Been knocked out 3 times. Only 18 KOs. It ain't a bunch of power. He's not a great fighter. We understand. He's respectable. Absolutely. Average. Not stupendous. But this type of fighter, like we've seen with Bruno Saras versus Munguia, anything can happen. And especially with the likes of somebody who is not or has been questioned with his dedication for wanting to be real in this sport. Because we've noticed, you can't play this. You can't play this boxing game. You can't just feign trying to get back into the sport. You got to be all in. I'm not trying to question the heart of Jermall Charlo or Jermall Charlo. Well, more so Jermall than Jermall, because Jermall, other stuff. Jermall, he showed what he was when he fought against Canelo. Different thing. But with Jermall, I question where his mind is more than his heart. Because mentally, is he checked out? In terms of checked out of this. Is he checked out? Because if he is that high, It's a scary thing. It's a very scary thing. But let me see what people have to say. If Maul has any semblance of his old self, he stops conflict. Lamana is there to get stopped. He is, absolutely is. Like I said, he's not a great. He is there to get beat. He is there to get stopped. Absolutely. I hope it happens. I expect it to happen. But we hope for the safety of everybody. I expect it to happen. But we also need to understand that we are everything about Charlo. We don't know where it's at. Because everything about Charlo that we've seen has been everything but boxing. Everything about Charlo that we've seen has been everything but boxing. We can get on Deontay Wilder all day long, but at least we got on him and he was in the gym. Trying to change his game, trying to elevate and do all that stuff when he had a bunch of questions going through our mind. We had a bunch of questions going through our mind about what is his next steps then. He got beat still. But at least we weren't questioning, okay, he's not in the sport. He's no longer that same Wilder. But we never questioned his dedication to being in the gym, being in the sport, trying to do something. Charlo, it's been 2 years of almost dead silence before popping out saying, hey, I'm back. That could be good, that could be bad, but it leaves a lot of unanswered things that we only will be able to see inside of the ring. If he gets the stoppage like he's supposed to, love it. Phenomenal. Credit to him. No problem there. No problem there. But the question of even getting the semblance, I just don't know. I just really don't know because of how much both of them have kind of just dropped off the face of the boxing world. And it's a concern. It's really a concern. Yo, nerd, what's good with it? How you doing? Glad to see you. Thanks for tuning in to the show. What you got to say? Charlo been done even before his last fight. He looked horrible versus Montel. And I am not the only one that has the same sentiment. I'm not the only one that had. Now again, we are not hoping that he fails, but we have to be real about this. We have to be genuine about this fight. We can't just go here and say that Charlo's going to be back better than ever. Charlo's going to be back like he never left. We can't sit here and say that just because there's a person that should be beaten, it isn't just a guarantee, not just because of the sport's unpredictability, but because the questions about the fighter that we're saying should have an easy time are valid. Because they have been unanswered and to a degree neglected by the fighter for over 600 days. That's the problem. The confidence with Charlo is very much unknown. Because there isn't anything that we can really hang our hat on. Because the biggest success that he's had in terms of, oh yeah, that's what we know, has been a while ago. It's been a minute since we've had that level of consistent, yeah, this is the Charlo that we know and love. We don't have that. It's a problem. And I wanted to be sensible, bitch. We gotta be real. We gotta be real. We don't know what Charlo we're gonna see. And with him, it's been more of a question than we've ever had, at least on this show, for me, than with other fighters. I've had that before. We don't know what type of fighter we're going to see. We don't know what version we're going to see from XYZ when they get back into the ring. We've said that before. But both of the Charlos have been the one instance where that has been more true than ever before. Because of the lack of enthusiasm and the lack of drive that they both have shown in the past 2 years. Both of them. It's why I said a lot of people are wary of Charlo because of his brother and Canelo. And it bled over into shining a bigger spotlight on the questions that we already did have for the likes of Jermall. Now it's time to put up or shut up. We want to see him shut it. I want to see him shut everybody up, myself included. I want him to be good. I want him to be great. If he's great at middleweight, guess what that means? Now we can get Charlo versus Janibek Ali Muhammad. Even more excitement into the world of the middleweight division. Maybe he could potentially move out to super middleweight. Up, now we got to fight with him versus likes of, maybe a Caleb Plant. Maybe a Canelo. down the line at 168. Who knows if Canelo's still champion? All of these things can happen with the success. We love it. Makes the sport better. He's still one of the bigger names in the sport, even with him being gone away. He could still drive a lot of people back to this sport if he returned. We love it. But we don't know. We don't know. And so it all starts with one step. This is that first step. Handle your business. We love it. If you struggle, we got to call it out. Plain and simple. And I truly hope, it's a semblance that I can say, yeah, that's the Charlo I remember. Because if not, I'm going to have to say he might have to wrap it up. He might have to wrap it up. If I see him struggling from a sense of he just doesn't want to be there, similar to what we had with Jared Anderson a couple of fights ago, where he's just like, I just don't want to be here. It's time to go. It's time to go if we do see that in his mind's eye or in his body language, in his fighting style, in his fight in general on that night. And so I said, question the head of Jermall. Hold on. Question the head of Maul and the heart of Mel. It's crazy. I thought Mel was lying when he was at 154. And it's like, he looked like a cat. Again, he looked like a cub. We wanted him. And I got another comment. Hold on. Teddy Berkshire, what's going on? Yo, brother, how you doing? Good to see. I was trying to make sure I wasn't seeing something. I thought it was a new comment or there was something I ain't clicked. Yeah, no, what's going with you? Thanks for tuning in. Charlo still has the skill, no passion, just paper. These are the issues. Passion over paper. The get money over trying to be dominant. This is a bad question. Mind you, I'll use Tank Davis. Tank Davis, we talked about him. He said he wants his money and get out. He said his pride can't take losing. He said all that stuff. Absolutely. We've gotten on him about his legacy. We've gotten on him about not being an all-time great. We've gotten on him about how all the skill sets that he has, he still has not tested himself consistently against the top competition that we need him to fight at 135. Bringing up Lamont Roach from 130 is not a great fight. Even after what we have seen with Lamont Roach, which, my gosh, we love that he's now a challenge, but it shouldn't have been that Roach was a choice. And it should have been Shakur, Lomachenko, Keyshawn Davis, or at 140, Richardson Hitchens even, Tio, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Sabril Matias. I can go down the list. It's still bad, absolutely. But the difference is when it came to Tank, at least we didn't have to question once he gets in the ring what we're going to see and what he is made of. At least we didn't have that as questions. He still is a dog. Taking a knee and all. He still is a dog. He still is and continues to show that he has not lost his craft. That he is indeed great from a talent perspective. That has not changed. We may not like the reason, but we don't question the interior fighting drive. We don't question it. We may question his ability to want to be challenged. That's different. But in terms of in the fight, what are you? We don't question it. We question both of the Charlo brothers. That's the issue. We question Jermall because of what's known. We question Jermall because of what's unknown. But they're both having the same questions. But what are you as a fighter on the inside now? Because one showed that you're compromised and the other showed that you're not existent. Potentially. Hypothetically. This is a problem. And so we can't just sit here and say, oh, they're going to be right as rain. Oh, you're being too harsh on them. We're not being harsh. We got to be real. If we aren't real, we're going to get fooled. And then we're going to be saying, oh, I can't believe that this happened. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Because the signs were there if the issue shows up again. And that's the question with Charlo. Both of them. But specifically the one fighting the end of the month, this weekend, Jermall. What are you made of? And where is your drive as a fighter? Because if both of those questions stay unanswered and or the answer is wrong, he doesn't need to fight anymore. I don't want to see somebody get hurt because they can't bring themselves to do what they need to do. I don't need it. Even Manny Pacquiao fighting. I have major concerns with him fighting. Absolutely. But the one thing I don't have a concern with is that he knows what he is as a fighter. He knows what he is in here. In here, he knows what he is. In here. He knows in here and in here. He knows what he is. There's no question. We can hate it. We can hate him coming back all we want, potentially. We can say it shouldn't happen. We at least can hang our hat on the reason why people say he can potentially win, because we know what he is in here at 46 years old still. The ability may not be the same at all, absolutely, but the heart, he's still got his identity. And for Pacquiao, especially what he showed his entire career, for some people that's enough. And for some fighters, that's enough. But for Charlo, it's non-existent right now until he shows us otherwise. If he doesn't need to be fighting anymore. That's what's about. But let me see. Michael Jordan wanted to be in the MLB, but he was skilled enough to try, but his passion was basketball. But his skill was his passion was baseball. Yes, it was. But his skills were hoops. But he returned and still showed passion, even if baseball was his baby. You cannot lose what you are. That's the gist of it. Jordan never lost what he was, regardless of what sport he was in. Deion Sanders, son of Shedeur and Charlo Sanders. Shedeur Sanders got drafted to Cleveland. Aggressively low, which is insane. Shouldn't have been a fifth round pick, but that's a whole other conversation. Deion played baseball and football. His love, ironically enough, I believe, was baseball. Loved it. But he never lost himself in either sport. Never did. And he needs passion. I see you. He needs passion. Like what I see your passion as a commentator, and you get to like, hey, look, I appreciate it absolutely. If you like, or just if you enjoy what you're hearing, even if you disagree, leave a like on the stream. Hey, go ahead, share the show, get it up, absolutely, yeah. Come on. All this energy. I ain't drunk a lick of my coffee since I think I drank like once before I got on here, and then one sip before. Oh yeah, I'm giving you all the energy I got. But this is just a version of what passion can look like. But passion shows up in multiple different ways, but it's identifiable, regardless of which. Everybody's passion may not look the same. Everybody's passion won't be the same. But you know when it's there because you can see it clear as day. Charlo, I don't see it. None of them. Both of them right now. I don't see it. And Charlo and Jermall, coming back. I love it. I'm excited for the hope that he's going to be what we think he used to be. But because of the questions of the heart and the mind, I don't know if that's going to be the Charlo that we will ever see again. And it's a pain. It's a real shame. And hopefully all of this is just neglected. Hopefully all of this is just negated. Hopefully we come back next weekend and the world is Charlo's oyster. He's the hottest ticket in town. We can see that brother. Now again, Jannebeck, let's get it on. You're undisputed, let's go for it. Caleb playing at 168, we're coming for you. I want to have that conversation, absolutely. I would love it. I would love it like I love pecan pie if that happened. But Lord knows I am very much scared that we're going to see this man overstep a boundary that he's trying to push himself back into, that his heart is not in there. And if his heart ain't there, brother, it can be bad. It can be bad. We've seen when the heart ain't there. We saw it in Mike Tyson. Clear as day. We saw Mike Tyson, a perfect example. When your heart ain't in the sport no more, that's what you turn into. That is what you, the perfect example. When your heart ain't there, you turn into Mike Tyson later in his career. The passion ain't there. You give up. You choose to slump. You don't got it because you don't want to have it. That's where the questions, that's where danger can really step up. Oh, and let's not forget also, before I move on, let's not forget also, we also had another comment before I miss it. Now Moses needs to fight Jared Anderson or Andy Ruiz, or even Chisora first. Chisora got, I think, one fight left. He might not be able to fight Chisora. But again, 12. Normally, my barometer for getting those types of opponents, 15 fights. He's at 12 right now. If he was to step up sooner, would love to see it, absolutely. My best bet for somebody of his caliber, working his way up, and I'm about to finish my point with Jermall Charlo. I'm about to, just give me 1 second. But again, Al Booker said the best. Those are some big steps. But you just, again, I'm high on Itauma. Mind you, if you were here early on the show, you heard how much I love Moses Itauma. But my gosh, brother, you just named Jared Anderson, Ruiz, or Chisora. Andy Ruiz, hey, brother. Now, I'm not saying he can't beat him. He can. I understand that Andy Ruiz looks drastically worse than what he was when he actually became champion and beat Anthony Joshua. It's been downhill ever since, absolutely. But still, that level is not where he needs to be right now. It's not. Now, I would have that at fight like 14. The only one would be Anderson. The only one would be just about Anderson. Maybe. Ruiz, not yet. Chisora, he might not even get there. And mind you, Chisora just beat Big Baby. Not Big Baby. Not Big Baby. Chisora just beat and knocked down Joe Joyce. Now, Joe Joyce has been on another decline as well. Horrible. But still, to knock down Joe Joyce and beat him cleanly, unanimously, that's like, oh, shoot. That's something serious. That's something serious. And so, wait, hold on, did you say that? Oh, shoot, you didn't say that. Oh, shoot. Hey, man, wait. My bad. I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I'm so sorry. But yeah, hey, look, man, we've been in sync today. We thinking the same stuff right now. In terms of it, but you see where I'm coming from. There isn't if it was fight 15, then I wanted to fight Ruiz. Absolutely. But because it's still only 12 fights in, and he's still incredibly green, again, I believe Richard Torres has more fights. In fact, before I say that, hold on. Before I say that, let me not put my foot in my mouth. Let me make sure that that's the case. Let me make sure that that's the case. Because I don't want to put myself in a bad way to where all of a sudden I am up, Jean-Luc, you wrong. You don't know what you're saying. Let me check. Let me fact check. We are all for going through and fact checking what we know to make sure that we know what we know. Yeah, okay, yeah. So I was right. Okay, yeah. So Torres got 13 wins, 11 KOs. Itauma got 12 wins, 10 KOs. So they are literally step in step with each other. Andy Ruiz would be a big step for Torres. And a big step for the likes of Itauma. Chisora, even at 40, right now at 40, that's a big step. That's a big step. That's a huge step. Chisora has almost fought his way back into title contention at 40 years old. Though, again, he's getting ready to retire. If he wanted to, he would stay around. He would still be one of the bigger, at least within the top 15 of opponents to fight for a championship right now. because his late run has somehow still been successful. It's ridiculous. It's insane. It really is insane. But those are too big of a step. Davis, especially how he looked last time, might be the best option if there was a step up. But even then, that may not be what needs to happen yet. Because I can still be upset at Jared Anderson because he's not, again, a far cry from what he should be. But still, he is not bad. He's nowhere close to a championship level. No, he probably will never be at the championship level. But still, at this level, at their level, he's good. He's really good. For that level, he's really good. And that could be a big problem for him because they're not developed to where they can, do what they need to do against him. There are still levels to this, even though everybody ain't great. I completely understand. There's still levels to where even showing promise, there were fighters that Cus D'Amato did not let Mike Tyson fight at certain points in time because he was not ready. As much of a great fighter as he was, there were certain people he was not ready for it. Cus D'Amato would not let him fight up until a certain point in his career because he knew at this point in time what he knows now, he'll get beat. There's no way he can do that. Not right now. Later on, a couple fights down the road, absolutely. Give him to me because I'm ready. But right now, he's not. So Cus D'Amato will have that barometer. There's got to be a barometer for both of them. And that barometer, even though what looks to be the most likely thing would be Jared Anderson, both of them still, I don't believe, are ready for that yet. Moses is more ready for Anderson than Torres. But both of them still, I don't think, are ready to fight that tier of competition at this point in time. Now, 2 fights down the line, yes, now go. Now it's time to work. Now we move. And now, see what you got. Because at this point in your career, now you should be ready to face off against him. But right now, that might be a step to. I appreciate the enthusiasm, absolutely. I love it. Throw him into the fire. But I also got to understand there is a there is a process we also got to recognize now. We got to be fair. Oh boy, we do have to be fair. And Wilder. I don't know about Wilder. Shoot, I don't want any of them face off against even a now Wilder, because I don't think they're ready for it to understand. They don't understand elite power. I don't want their first instance of elite power to be. I don't want their first instance of what it means to face off against a real puncher to be Deontay Wilder. My gosh. Oh shoot. You're gonna ruin careers before they start. Even now, Wilder, you're going to ruin careers before they start if you put him in the midst of that. Oh, gosh. That is horrifying. That is scary. That is indeed very scary. Listen, Nunez versus Rikishi. Oh, that's tomorrow. Oh, wait. Oh, is that actually tomorrow morning? Hold on. Shoot. Did I forget about that? Oh, that is tomorrow. Shoot. I forgot. I've been trying to keep up with so much stuff. I completely forgot. And that was tomorrow. If you can't wake up to watch that fight, watch that fight. I'm not going to be able to wake up for it because I got so much stuff I got to do. And I'm not going to lie, I've been running for a hot minute. So I'm kind of, I might have to take a breather for that particular time. But no, if you can watch it. That's going to be a phenomenal fight. I'm excited for that. Absolutely. Al Pinchi, thank you for the reminder. That is, yes. Be sure to be tuned in for that fight. Because my gosh, that's going to be a bar. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a really good one. Absolutely. But let me see. Let me see. Tell that to Loma who tried 15 fights. See, now, Loma, that's a little bit of an anomaly. Loma, that's what's his amateur record? It's what, 321-4? That's kind of different. That's a you can't. There's always going to be an outlier. He's the outlier. That's the thing. That's the thing. I threw out some names out that person would be looking after for a boost. He needs as a manager. I understand. Again, I just think right now those names are 2 fights away from happening rather than putting them right now. Because like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's good with Moses. But there's a lot of stuff that also right now he still does need to fix. He's further along than Torres in development, in my estimation. But still, even with that, there's still some stuff he needs to improve on before we can keep on going. But I'm not saying so. It could be Otto Arlene. That's another name that even still that's still championship or former championship contender. Could be a good gatekeeper potentially, but even still, those are the people that yeah. I agree that most people 2 fights in. That's when I would start bringing up all those other names that you just brought up. Right now, I don't see it. Didn't Cuss tell Mike to never ever fight George Foreman? He knew that it was a horrible matchup for Mike. I think I can't remember if it was Cuss. I know Mike himself said like way later on, he didn't want nothing to do with George Foreman. Even when George Foreman came back, he said he didn't want nothing to do with George. And George subsequently said in interviews, well, not recently, but a couple years ago, against Saturday before he passed away, when he got asked about Tyson, I think it was on Max Kellerman's show, Max on Boxing. You can probably find it on YouTube. But George had said he don't want nothing to do with Tyson. When Tyson was coming, yes, he called him out, absolutely. But then, hindsight, George was like, yeah, I really didn't want anything to do with Tyson. And Tyson said, I didn't want anything to do with Foreman. So it was an equal respect to each other. So it was like, you stay on your side of the street, I'll stay on mine. We'll talk a big game. I don't want to face you, and you don't want to face me. We'll keep it at that. That's essentially what I found out in separate interviews, both of them referring to each other. Both of them didn't want a part of either of them when stepping into the ring. My gosh, that's actually insane. That would have been an insane fight though to see. But my gosh, mutually, they said, hey, I'm good. Mutually, they said later on down the line, I'm good. I'm okay. You a dog, I'm a dog. We'll keep barking over here. Shoot. Let's see. Hold on, dog. Ain't Moses supposed to be an anomaly to come up on? Excuse me. Hold on, dog. Ain't Moses supposed to be an anomaly to come on, dog? You tripping? No. See, here's the thing. You have to understand. I can hype up a fighter and say everything that they do right, and still understand where the development is. Both of them can be mutually. They don't have to be exclusive. They can coexist. When I'm talking about Moses Itauma, I am understanding that, and again, I preferenced this when I was talking about it earlier. If you might not have been here earlier, you can go back and look at the full talk that I had with Moses. Moses at this stage is incredibly polished. Of the next generation of heavyweights, like Torres, who's also at the forefront for this division, Moses Itauma is still is in my eyes, the top one at this point in time as a talent. Though that is the case, I am not saying that this man's going to come through and in 15 fights become a world champion. I'm not saying he's going to follow in Loma's footsteps, because I also understand he's not that good. He's not that good. For where he's at right now, he is incredibly well polished and incredibly advanced, which I love. Which was the opposite, or no, not the opposite, which is what I similarly said to Jared Anderson when he was also on the rise. However, the issues I had with Anderson, I do not have with Itauma nearly as much, because the flaws that Anderson showed, which are still incredibly persistent today, Moses does not have that at this stage in his career, which is good. But that does not mean that he is a world beater. Put him against Dubois now. Put him against Ruiz, which, again, I could see that fight happening just 2 fights later. Or put him against, dare I say, Joseph Parker. I'm not saying do that. There are still levels to elevating as a fighter. There are still levels to becoming, okay, a real contender, a real threat. He's on a track to get there earlier than most, which I do recognize, absolutely. He's on a track to be that torchbearer for the next generation. Love it. Or the torch holder, excuse me. But that does not mean that while you are the leader of the charge, you're ready to fight every war. While you know you're the leader of an army, you still can't go and fight everybody. Because there's still some people that you even at this advanced level, at this early stage in your development as a boxer, you still aren't ready for the experience that some other people bring to the table. Because experience does take into account for it. It really does. Case in point, Jared Anderson fighting against Martin when that was his first big step up in the competition. That exposed a lot about Anderson, a whole lot, in a negative light. Because even with somebody who was not a great champion at all, I believe he had one of the shortest reigns in heavyweight history when he got knocked out by AJ after winning the title, or gifted the title, I can't remember which one. But he still, on the lowest totem pole of competitive or former championship status, he still gave Jared Anderson great work, phenomenal work. And if Frank Martin was just slightly better, he could have and potentially would have beaten Jared Anderson. Genuinely. If he had figured out what worked sooner, which was that big straight left hand, naked down the pipe without any sort of setup whatsoever, this could have been a resurgence of what we saw, or we could have seen what Martin McCauley did to Anderson happen to him before McCauley. That's why I'm saying you can't, there still has to be a level of molding. I'm high on him, absolutely, but I'm not stupid. We understand this, but he ain't there yet. In my eyes, he isn't there. In your eyes, he may well be, which I love it. It shows how much legitimate talent he's got. If you're saying he can fight those people now, it shows the potential, the promise, the real talent in him. But that does not mean still that, as for my job, I still got to be objective about this. And I still got to understand there's a flow. And there's a reason why I'm saying he shouldn't fight those people yet. Because I understand that their experience can trump even the great talent that he has. Because there's stuff there's stuff that Itauma has not seen before that they can use. That not only is he not prepped for from being able to fight against it, but right now there are tools that he still needs to garner to actually be able to adapt to that he doesn't have right now. And so those things are why I say he needs to wait. Or just 2 fights, that's it. And he already wants to be active, so it's going to be quick. But those are the reasons why Itauma should not be on those names just yet. But in 2 fights, if he becomes 14-0, now it's time to work. Because at that point in time, I would say you should be prepped by now to face off against those names, to face off against Ruiz, to face off against an Otto Walling. Now, your time to show what you can do. The molding process is done. Now you got to be molded in fire rather than molded in darkness. And by darkness, I mean without heavy flames all around you, you're molded and the clay's looking good. Okay, now you got to be molded in fire. Let's see how you hold up, or do you fall flat with what should be integrity in your game. That's what we're saying. And so that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to hold him back. I'm just saying I got to be real. I have to be real about it. And so, let me see. Listen, they talking about the kid like he's next. Listen, they talking about the kid like he's next great heavyweight. So the bar is lifted. I'm sorry, you aren't wrong, but I'm looking at the bigger picture. I understand. I do understand. I do understand where you're coming from. And I understand. I'm 47. I'm watching. So I'm watching boxing. And so you've been watching for a minute. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you see where I'm coming from. I respect where you're coming from. Absolutely. I just think that for him, I can talk about hype and still be real with understanding that there's some people that, while you think he'll be able to beat them, he can't right now. Because I just don't see him as that developed yet. Though his development is drastically better than what I've seen with other potential boxing stars who are young prospects. But like you've seen this before, so you know the trajectory that if you put somebody in there too early, something can fall flat. Or something can get derailed. Now, you want people to be tested. A loss doesn't make or break people. But a loss, especially in a bad development where you put in a situation where you are really ill-prepared, that can demoralize a fighter. We don't want that. We want you to reach your best and then see what you can do. proper prep work. And then now training wheels are off. And so that's all I'm saying. Let it cook in the oven a little bit longer. Just for me. I never said that. Oh, excuse me. I never said that you said anything about him doing anything early than expected. But they are trying to make him break the record. Regardless. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, my bad. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. They're trying to make him break the record, regardless of what talent he's missing. Don't really matter. Okay. Now I see. And again, see, it's text. Look, I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk and you read the chat and be entertaining. I don't want to be dead silent while doing a show. We got to give you, I'm trying to give you a consistent barrage of smooth, fun, informed showing. But, and I'm trying to read the chat and talk at the same time. So excuse me. So no, okay, so now I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So, Teddy, thank you for clearing it up. I got to your chat late, but thank you for clearing up. And Al Booger, I see what you're saying too about Frank Warren doing the hype job to get him up there. I get it. I do get it. So now, see, the bigger picture, the better picture. I got the picture. There we go. Okay, so now, yep, it all makes sense now. It makes sense now. I was completely neglecting that. You are right. They are trying to make it so that he can break that record. Break Tyson's record of going and beating, it was essentially sub 20 years or 20 years old. They wanted to be champion because Tyson got it at 21, breaking Floyd Patterson's record. That's what Frank Warren and a lot of other promoters want to happen. We got that. And he beat Burbick for the title. Absolutely. It was Burbick, right? It was Burbick. It was Tyson did beat Burbick. Let me make sure. Tyson. That what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was when Tyson beat Burbick. For the title. He's trying to make him break that record and go potentially sub 21 years old, which would be insane. If that is what they're trying to do, that's going to be very bad. That's going to be very bad. And it's not because I'm trying to dismiss what Moses Itauma is doing. But you have to understand also the current landscape of the heavyweight regime is Usyk. It's the golden narrative. If they want to have a sustained star, they need to nix that right now. There is no world at this point in time that Moses Itauma can be a champion in my eyes because of who's got the belts right now. It's Dubois, it's current Dubois and Usyk who got the titles outright. To get to them, you got to beat Joseph Parker potentially. Dare I say, you got to beat Tyson Fury. If he does come back and say, hey, I want my shot at the run, you still got to go through Anthony Joshua, who even on the worst rung of his career right now, he is still an incredibly dangerous opponent. Don't forget Zhang. Don't forget Ajit. Don't forget Bakoli. Even though Bakoli, again, is more so fun to watch than real dominant. When I say dominant talent, I mean his talent is there. We now seen, okay, there is some limitations to it, absolutely. Going to a draw with F.A. Jogba when I thought he should have been able to clean out F.A. Jogba because I didn't value F.A. Jogba at all, rightfully so, for what he had shown as a fighter. Still. But it's still, there's a bunch of people, names that I'm forgetting, that are still like, brother, those fighters are necessary to get up to the likes of a Dubois and or Usyk. If you put Itauma versus Dubois right now, I'm sorry, Itauma, I don't think he does it. If he does, great, that's phenomenal. But this lack of, that's a dangerous game. That's a and also, and you don't see Frank, and you didn't see what Franklin did to Daniel Dubois for him to get where he is. It almost didn't happen, and history repeats itself. Like he probably won't do it, but they will attempt it. Dubois got it. Daniel Dubois, once he got beat, after Joe Joyce and after Usyk, the real work to become a championship fighter came afterwards. That's when the pieces actually started getting put together to become the fighter that is championship worthy. If Dubois had fought AJ before he went through that fire, he would have gotten knocked out. He would have gotten beat. And it would have been complete opposite of what we saw Dubois actually do to AJ. Moses Itauma, if you want a long-standing, great heavyweight, especially, mind you, in a heavyweight division that just recently got back to a level of promise. We talk about Joseph Parker. We talk about Wilder. We talk about Fury. Let's not forget, outside of Fury, AJ, and Usyk, when he got there, and Wilder, the heavyweight division was incredibly dry. It was. Joseph Parker was seen as irrelevant. Joe Joyce was up and coming, but nobody really bought into him. Big Bang Jang was ignored and not given opportunities at his best. And we were getting fighters like Otto Wallin getting shots at the title. Consistent. Derek Chisora getting 2 shots at the title. It was dead. Fury versus Wilder helped push and propel that trajectory back to heights. Usyk coming in and beating AJ twice. And then Dubois helped get the garner for heavyweight boxing back to a real, consistent light, which is good. Heavyweight boxing has just now gotten back to a level of relevancy not even that it used to be, but just a vestige of what heavyweight boxing used to be, with being in the front of the mind's eye of the globe. It used to be that it wasn't getting a second thought. Outside of Wilder, for Americans, nobody else knew anything or cared for Americans about Tyson Fury. And I'm not saying America's the only stopgap for boxing. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying it was very much split up from the standpoint of who did and did not care about the division. Now, we're at a point in time where you got a bunch of bigger players that are all getting a level of spotlight that it used to be that wasn't the case. We're just back in the realm that heavyweight boxing has got some consistency. We're just back there. If you want to get and keep that same level of stardom or spotlight on your stars, you got to develop them properly. You have to develop them properly. And you can't afford to have Moses Itauma be trampled underfoot because you try to make him something too quickly that he isn't yet. You will gut your future in the division if you push Moses Itauma faster than he needs to be pushed. You will. You absolutely will. There's no question in my mind that you will push this division out from the minds of people if you make Moses Itauma go too far into the deep end too early. If this is what they're trying to do and push him to get to a title and break Tyson's record. You don't need it. You don't need that. Because again, like I said, if you weren't here, like I said at the start of the show, Usyk is, in fact, let me go on and switch this thing over to the championship round. Because at this one time, we're here already. But Usyk is almost gone. Tyson Fury's almost gone. AJ ain't got much left in the tank with the amount of damage he's incurred and his age. He ain't got but so far. Dubois, the youngest of that era, if you want to call it a box, he's kind of a tweener. But regardless of which, once they're gone, even with the likes of Bacoli isn't seen as that it guy in the division. Once they go, there's nothing. Who else takes up that mantle that has validity, respect? We had champions in the past that people didn't care about in the heavyweight division. Genuinely. We've had champions in the past in the heavyweight division that people did not care about. There was no substance behind them. This is the game that you are, if you're Frank Warren, or anybody in the boxing world, you are playing a tightrope. If you think you're going to put Moses Itauma to break that record from Mike Tyson, and one, Itauma is nowhere close to as good as Mike Tyson. And two, Itauma already doesn't have the same level of hype to sustain him if he loses. You don't need that in a division that is so much on the brink of falling away again, because the old pillars that just got built up are about to go and get knocked down because they're getting ready to retire. You can't afford that. As a sport, you can't afford that. As a fighter, you can't afford that. That's horrible. That's terrible if that's the case. That is horrible if that's what they're trying to do. Because you're gonna gut a star. You're gonna gut a potential future champion. You're gonna gut the momentum of somebody who could be one of the big three to beat, that also captivates the hearts and minds of the boxing world. As we want to see them. We want to buy into them. But you push them in now and then they get trampled because they are so ill prepared. You are going to push yourself into an early grave as a division yet again. And you just rose from the dead. You just rose from the dead. You just got back to relevancy. You just got back to relevancy as a division. And now you about to throw it all away because you want to try to push some history for a fighter that isn't ready for that history in the slightest. It don't need to happen. It shouldn't happen. It should not happen at all. At all. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. It's going to be incredibly bad if we do see that take place. So yeah, you are right. Teddy and everybody else has been agreeing, which I didn't realize you all were saying earlier. That's going to be a bad way to go. It's going to be a bad way to go if we see that take place. Also, I almost forgot. Before we go into the championship rounds, we got more to cover on the world of boxing. Like with everybody's favorite fighter or favorite topic. Is this it? Oh, wait, hold on. Is this it or is this not it? There we go. Yep. Everybody's favorite fighter that people love to discuss. Canelo. Hey. Oh. Gotta talk about him before we go into the championship rounds real quickly. This will bleed into the championship round talk, which, if you didn't know, championship rounds, you can talk about anything and everything in the world of sports, in or outside of boxing. We're all for NBA, NFL, boxing. I'm all for it all. Comics, video games, whatever the case. If I can talk about it, I'll be about it. If not, hey, we're going to move on. Because I ain't going to buy it. I'm not about to look like a fool. But no, I'm just kidding. But that'll come right after this. Real quick, Canelo concerns. Because there's been a conversation about not just the running rule, but more specifically with Canelo fighting movers. This stage in his career, where is his ability now once he fights against Terence Crawford? And I think there is a bigger issue of moving that we may not really be looking into like it needs to. There may be more to this moving concern for Canelo to be able to keep up with fighters on the feet. That might not be as much of that's not a blow-off issue. Because that fight with William Skull, it was a horrible fight. It was a terrible fight. It was a fight that absolutely gutted the entirety of the weekend before Anyway ultimately came in with a bang and made it all the better. But notice, I did fail to bring up something. In the last, 2 or 3 rounds, when Canelo did try to come forward and actually engage, turn it up, go and get him, he still wasn't successful. When he got into gear one and was just annoyed with the likes of Skull running around and doing nothing, I get it. Didn't want to do it. The fight was horrible. Completely understandable. But when he did try to actually move forward, when he did try to actually go and be aggressive and catch Skull, hurt Skull, corner Skull, force Skull into a fight, he wasn't really able to do it, though it was only a round or two that he really tried to put on the gas. I think I overlooked that when I first saw the fight. And now that really has me asking, against Crawford, what is it that's going to happen if Crawford is actually able to box for 12 rounds and stay on the feet as a mover? Though, again, we know Crawford loves to be a dog, loves to fight, loves to go and control the night. He absolutely does. But at the same time, he's also smart. And if we see that Canelo really can't catch Crawford, it further adds on to the parameters that Crawford can actually put off this upset. He actually can. Let's not forget that most of Canelo's biggest ops in terms of struggles were movers. It was people that he couldn't catch. Amir Khan, Lara, Floyd. And I think there was one more person. Bivol, excuse me. Though Bivol was more of a fought bigger and wouldn't go and goad for Canelo's traps and counters. And we use his length and reach to be able to overwhelm and with volume while still staying safe and be able to bounce back out. A little bit different. But the mantra is the same. Good feet hurt Canelo. Average feet, Canelo can dominate. Bad feet, Canelo knocks out. Most of those tiers of feet, and there's a movers, Canelo's been able to beat. But there's a significant struggle, especially of recent, with people that can move and actually give Canelo a target that is not stationary. Caleb Plant, perfect example. This is when Canelo was in his prime. Caleb Plant won the first 6 rounds of the fight before Canelo was able to actually adapt. Billy Joe Saunders. There's an argument that Canelo was losing the fight with Billy Joe Saunders. Mind you, this is more so prime Canelo, real prime Canelo. His early initiation into 168. When he fought against the likes of Saunders on my card was actually winning the fight. Up until Canelo countered him and broke his face. Broke his orbital bone and made him retire on the stool and quit. Billy Joe ain't never fought again. Looking for a comeback. I don't know if it's going to happen. But regardless of which, he struggled mightily and was on the road on my card to lose that fight. Amir Khan struggled immensely to catch the level of speed before ultimately landing the 1-2 that went and did him in. These are the concerns that we have for Crawford, who is also taller, potentially at 168, if he is able to gain it the right way, will not be compromised in all of his physical ability. And potentially, let's not forget, with how much of a physical anomaly Crawford is as a fighter, him coming up to 168 could actually unlock a level of damage that I did not expect to see from him, from the standpoint of what he can do physically and how much he can actually impose his will. There's a potential opportunity that because Crawford is slightly taller than Canelo, got with a 4-inch reach on Canelo, and is genuinely one of the pound-for-pound strongest people in the division. Him versus Canelo might not be as much of a physical mismatch as we may expect it to be. Though we understand the ramifications for Crawford at 168 are dire. They're dire. Let's not mince words about it. It's dire to see Crawford go out to 168 and fight against Canelo in a potential very dangerous and if it goes bad, career-altering type of fight. But it's not just with the abilities and talent of Crawford that this can be a potential upset. But the current degradation that we've seen with Canelo over the course of years, especially against one specific style, moving targets, with one of the greatest savants in boxing today facing off against him that can fight and do damage from outside and inside. He can box, move, switch, hit, use both the left and right hand with the greatest of ease, with none being a detriment. Giving looks and angles and combinations that Canelo genuinely has not seen since the likes of Floyd Mayweather, from a complete collective talent. There is some concern. There's some concern. And I'm starting to buy into more and more that this upset may not be as wide of a gap as we may expect it to be. I'm starting to buy into more and more that this upset potential is not as much of a outlandish take for people that have Crawford winning against Canelo Alvarez. I still got Canelo winning. But every single week, the more and more I'm thinking and looking, the smaller and smaller that gap becomes for how exactly Canelo can dominate that fight, or how dominantly he can control that fight, There's some concern. There is some concern. Regardless of how much we think that Crawford should be outmatched, there's more and more concern every single day. Every time you study tape, every time you see something new, every time we see something more in depth about what each brings to the table and where they are currently with their own careers. There's some plight. There is some plight. Because again, it's not like Crawford has you stand and bang for 12 rounds like he's Isaac Cruz or Sean Porter. He ain't got to do that. He can do both. But let's not forget, this buddy can be a sharpshooter from the outside and be a mover for 12 rounds if need be. He can mix it up. Sugar Ray Leonard did it against Marvin Hagler. Let's not forget, Leonard boxed and brawled with Hagler to be able to go and switch up the cadence, switch up the pace, take some rounds off, go back on the gas, use his jab, use the ring, and then would also engage to the point that he would get the better of Hagler from time to time, and then boom, work his way back on the outside and go and fight there. Crawford can do that same thing against Canelo. He can do that same thing against Canelo. Now again, I feel like Hagler won that fight still. But regardless of which, there's a blueprint. There's a blueprint from multiple people that have done the work against Canelo, have beaten Canelo, have taken him to the brink, that Crawford can utilize and implement in his own style, that can potentially make this a fight that might shock a lot of people, might shock a whole bunch of people. So there is some concern, I do need to say, more and more every day, that we're seeing with the likes of Canelo versus Crawford. But with all that being said, now we can go into the biggest part of the show, which is the championship rounds. That's right. No, wrong button. There we go. Yes, sir. It's time to make sure you're on, and time for you to shine inside the ring and get whatever you want to say. Say it. It's whatever you want. We're talking about basketball, boxing, football, whatever you want to discuss. Video games, movies, sports, all that. If I can talk about it, I can be about it, but it's your time to shine. We got 15 minutes to discuss, or 15 to 30 minutes to discuss whatever you want to talk about on this show for the world to be able to see and to be able to talk about. We are indeed ready to hear your opinions and takes. You all control this portion of the show. You all have your saying whatever you want to talk about. There is no topics. Well, no, let me not say that. Some people be saying some crazy stuff. There are some ramifications. Yeah, there are. Sometimes we ain't touching because we ain't that kind of show. But most of the stuff, hey, we all for it. Because I want to hear your voice, your opinion, your thoughts, your concerns. Is there anything you want to talk about that we talked about earlier in the show that you want to delve back into? More stuff with the Charlo brothers. More stuff with Caleb Plant. I didn't even get to do my predictions. I think Caleb Plant and Jermall Charlo are going to win their respective matchups. I think both, ironically enough, by knockout. Honestly. But again, is there anything, whatever you want to say and discuss? Questions, comments, concerns, debates, critiques. We can talk about it all right here. Or just saying what's up and just, hey, chatting it. We can all have it right here on the show for you to be able to conversate and, hey, say what you want. If you are still here, please leave a like on the stream. If you haven't already, share the show with everybody that you can while we're in the last segments of the show. And make the show your own to go on and shine through. But while you're getting your questions together, while you're getting your comments together, while you're getting your own rundowns that you want to have to talk about for this show, we can quickly talk about the NBA while we got some time, because there's still the NBA playoffs coming up. We are on the verge of getting at least one NBA Finals contender, which will be most likely the OKC Thunder, as the Thunder have gotten themselves in a 3-1 lead over the Timberwolves, winning a very close game in their last outing, with SGA scoring 40. That's right, 40. I believe beating the Wolves 128 to 126. If I got my if I have my doggone it, if I got my numbers correctly. And then also we got the Knicks finally beating the Pacers. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. It happened. It actually happened. The Knicks got to win. The Knicks got to win in Indiana over the Pacers. Indiana leads New York 2-1 going into their next game tonight at 8 o'clock. We are in the midst of what could potentially be a tournament, because finally they got the formula. And there is something I want to say on that Knicks-Indiana series. There has been some real good offense that the Knicks have been able to show when Jalen Brunson isn't on the floor. Now, I'm not saying Jalen Brunson isn't the heart and shoulder team. I'm not saying Brunson is not the catalyst for why the team has gotten the level of success that they have. But I can also point out that this man has been, to a degree, making the offense of the Knicks very much revolving around him, but in a bad way, because the ball stops. People can't get into momentum. And if he misses, Indiana's going on the break. Now, he'll still give you 30, absolutely. But at times, if he does ever go cold or starts missing, Knicks are in a bad way. But when he's off the floor, all of a sudden we're seeing this team get better. Cat had 4 points at the end by the time the fourth quarter came out with the New York Knicks. But he had 24 in the fourth quarter. Exploded for 24 in the fourth quarter with Brunson off the floor. Threes, dunks, getting to the lane, getting fouled. Didn't matter. Was unstoppable. Literally, at that point in time, that was the breakout performance for the Knicks to be able to come up and show through. Sorry, I thought I saw something outside my window. But when we look at the Knicks right now, there is a way that this team can be successful. And it might have to be with Brunson playing less minutes to let the offense of this team be more fluid, be more orchestrated, be more organic, rather than just being an offense that, while it's predicated around Brunson, it is stagnated to a degree around Brunson also, especially when Brunson goes cold. But there is a formula now. Mitch Robinson's showing up like he always does. Cat showing up immensely now, especially after struggling early on. And having the ability and the wherewithal to be able to understand that if we can just keep up, not just keep up, be consistent with our identity as a team, we can be successful in getting this series back to 0-0, taking it back to New York, and getting us a real shot at getting to a finals. It's possible. It is a huge type of concern, but it's possible it can happen. It's definitely possible that they can both true, and it can come up, and it can take place that we see this team being successful. It absolutely is. Absolutely is. But only time will tell. But with all that being said, also on the last thing, Timberwolves. With the Timberwolves have the ability, though it's slim, to be able to be OKC. It really is slim. But it can't come out the backs of a terrible performance that we saw from the likes of Anthony Edwards, like we saw last game. Still a superstar. Still great. Still dominant. Absolutely. Still one of the better big-time stars in the whole of the league. However, now do mean it's a big however, this squad is built to be a potential stepping stone for OKC. Because right now, they just look like they can't get any sort of consistent momentum. OKC is just too good defensively. They're too dominant defensively. They're too dominant offensively. Everybody on that team is able to hit clutch shots at any given point in time. And it makes no sense at all. None whatsoever. How much this team is able to constantly go through, bulldoze their way into a lead. Keep it. Rim protection with your elbow. Luke Dort and Jalen Williams being able to hit clutch threes every single time the Wolves close the gap. There's no pressure too big for this team to be able to continue or to be able to, there's no pressure too big for the team to falter. There's no situation too grand or too tense to make this team lose its chemistry and outright calm, cool, collected nature. It's insane, but it's the truth. That's what this team brings to the table. It's a dichotomy. Not even a dichotomy. No, it is a dichotomy. It's a conundrum. That's the word. It's a conundrum. Because a team this young, with this many youthful stars and legitimate great players that don't have that much experience, outside of maybe with Alex Caruso, to be able to be this calm and collected under another young leader in the likes of SGA, who also, while he's an MVP, has never been this close to greatness before. Never been this close to a finals appearance before. Has not been this close to having his name potentially etched in history. And with Caruso being the most experienced player that they got on the squad from the standpoint of what it takes to be a champion, for them to still be able to have this level of collective synergy and peace and just, oh yeah, we know what we got to do. Let's just do it. That type of mentality is special. It's so special. It's so special. That's why this team is so hard to beat. And that's why the Wolves, I think they're done. I think they're done. I really do. This is going to be a sign for the Timberwolves. They need to get a second star. They have to. It cannot be Julius Randle being the second best dude on the squad to make this team go. As good as defending Rudy Gobert is, he cannot be one of the potential pillars that you have as an offensive weapon to be able to make this team be successful. You can't. You need to look for a second running mate. You got to. A dominant number two. Because this team is not built like Indiana. Halliburton is the only star in Indiana. However, Indiana's got the ability to run with anybody on the floor. Pascal Siakam, Nembhard, Naismith, TJ McConnell, Miles Turner. Don't forget, they got people off the bench that can also come up and show out. This team, with Halliburton, is a menace. Without Halliburton, still is a menace. Because they're chemistry driven. They got that synergy. Some of the OKC, just with less talent. But I'm not going to say more conducive, but similar to that conducive connectivity that they all have with each other. They don't got to tell you what to do. They just do it. And they automatically know where to move, how to move, when to take the shot, when to pass out. It comes naturally. When to switch, when to high edge, when to go under, when to go over, when to come down on the block, when to send help, when to rotate off the post, all that. They know it. It's like clockwork for them. Timberwolves don't have that. They got a great roster, but they don't have that. And when you don't have that, you need at least a number two, a dominant one. Right now, Timberwolves need that. Because as much as I respect Julius Randle for being able to get out of what he was doing in New York and be more productive than I've ever seen him before in any playoff setting in Minnesota, he is not enough. Gobert is not enough. One of them's got to go. And somebody got to come in, or they got to get somebody to be able to not just carry the load, but be another dog like with Anthony Edwards. Because if not, it's going to fall. It's going to be a major problem. But again, this is you all's show. Now I've covered everything I need to cover on my end of the spectrum. Is there anything anybody wants to say on their own for what they have for the show? Any comments, questions, concerns, debates? Basketball, football, NFL, video games, whatever you want to discuss. Movies, landscapes, or just whatever. Whatever you all want to talk about, I'm down for. But if nobody else has anything to say, I think we can wrap it up and get ready to get out of here. If nobody's got anything to say, we checking and making sure. We good? We good? I think we are good. So if ain't nobody else if nobody else has anything that they want to discuss on the show anymore, I think we've had a very productive show. And I think we can wrap it up and send it home. So, with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise. Yes, sir. Glad to see you here. Glad to see you tuning in. Thank you all for staying and listening to the show. Y'all have been wonderful. Hopefully this show was spectacular and it's lived up to the hype and expectations of what you expect from this show. Well, this is the hottest place to be in all of YouTube and the podcasting fan. We got basketball, we got boxing, and everything in between. This is a show we can learn, you can enjoy, you can debate, you can disagree. Absolutely, but we're going to give it to you just straight, no chaser, because that's what we do on this show. Unbiased, uncut, and everything in between to make it so that you have an absolutely uplifting time and a phenomenal time right here on the show. But we're going to be back on Thursday to cover more about the world of boxing and beyond. I've been your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Leave a like on the stream before you leave. Comment your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel and share the show with everybody you know so we keep on building up this empire together. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all next week. Oh, and don't forget, we're going to be on podcast after this show ends. So rate us 5 stars there. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, rate us 5 stars and share the podcast with everybody so everybody can listen to whatever we got to say all across the globe, wherever they want to hear it. And so, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for listening. Y'all have been beautiful. We will see you all on Thursday. Oh, I almost forgot one more thing. Do you all want 3 shows a week instead of 2? I forgot to ask it. Do y'all want 3 shows a week instead of 2 shows a week? We do 2 shows, Tuesday and Thursday. Would y'all like to do a show Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday? Show at the start of the week. Show when the work week's getting ready to end. Then when the show when the work week actually is. Do y'all want a show 3 days a week? We're going to see what y'all say. We're going to put a poll out this week to see what y'all got to say. And depending on that, we'll see what we can do. And if we did it last weekend, we did it last week. If y'all want it, we'll try it this week too. And we'll see what happens. But that's all. I forgot to say that. But now, we're getting ready to get out of here. We'll see y'all on Thursday. Be safe. Be blessed. Don't forget to vote on the poll. Share the show. All that good stuff. And we'll see y'all on Thursday. Yeah, absolutely.